I think that at a time of crisis in which we are deeply right now, I think that the biggest challenge for cultural organizations of any size really, be they local or regional or national or international, is to sustain or increase the level of relevancy they have within their local, regional or national communities. I think that when people are suffering times of need, that they look at culture, or that they can look at culture and arts in very opposing ways, as something that is no longer needed because they have other priorities that they need to address right now, or it can be seen as an escape. We have the studies prove that in times of crisis, the cinema attendance goes up substantially. You know, Nietzsche used to say that we have art to save us from reality. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that cultural organizations do have a large, important role to play, especially in times of crisis. Culture, crisis or financial crisis comes and goes. It's cyclical. Every 7 years there's a crisis. Every 30 years there may be a larger crisis, but it comes and goes. We're in a dip in a crisis. It will obviously go away in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years. What I'm worried about is what will remain of our cultural sectors once we're no longer that much preoccupied with financial indicators and with the economic situation. So that, I think, is a very big challenge for cultural organizations, relevancy in times of crisis. What I mean by relevancy is cultural organizations need to be an integral part of lives of people, and they can only be so if they're relevant to them, if they have something to add to them in terms of the experience, in terms of the cultural gratification, in terms of even social life. You know, in the old ages, theater used to be sort of a place to go to see and be seen. So the social life that cultural life entails is something that I feel we should very much embrace, and we should make sure that people miss cultural organizations if the cultural organizations are not there. Let's only hope that we don't get to that stage and that we are able to convey the idea that we need the support from the audience, or else they will miss us if we're not there. Well, most definitely, I do believe that art changes the world and that art changes us. I think that everyone that's ever had a meaningful cultural experience has grown richer by having that cultural experience. So I think there's no doubt that art changes us and makes us better. And even if you look at art education, for example, from young ages, art has a very important role to play in teaching common curriculum from school. You can use dance to teach geometry. You can use painting to teach mathematics. You can use music to teach about literature. So it's something that society has been embracing. I'm positive about this. Has been embracing since immemorial times. But I think it's once again coming back to your previous question. I think that in times of crisis we need to make sure that we cultural organizations are top of mind among people. That we're not relegated to the second plane or level in which people don't think about us anymore until they grow apart from us. So yes, I think art will help us face this crisis as well, because challenging art has always had something to say about our lives. And at this moment, you see this happening. You see many artists confronting the reality that we live in right now, and that helps us understand the reality itself. I think that the platforms or social media platforms or new means of communication, mass communication or direct communication, I think there's no way around it. If we want to be relevant to people, we need to be able to connect with them with the social, technological structures that they use. We cannot put a blind eye towards the fact that the common 16-year-old now spends, I don't know how many hours a day on Facebook. How do we connect with that 16-year-old now that we don't touch him through television advertising or newspaper advertising, or that we have reduced opportunities of going into his school? How do we connect with him? So we need to use the media that they are using, or else we won't be relevant. We won't be on their map if we're not on the place in which they are. So I really think that sort of the conflict between old media, new media, tradition, contemporaneity in what regards means of communication is nonsense. We cannot deny evolution. I truly believe that this is the crux of the issue. We need to be able to add something to people. And that goes through the way in which we work in our more formal settings, but also in the way in which we outreach to people at the places where they are, be the places where they are, home or school or on the street or on Facebook or on YouTube. I think that's all part of strategy that any cultural organization needs to put together. I think we need to adapt. I think we need to recognize the evolutions that we are facing in the means of communication, which doesn't mean that we should jump at any opportunity of a new social platform that shows up. We don't have the resources for that. So we both need to be daring, but also cautious. You know, maybe we can't be the first adopters of a new platform, but we shouldn't altogether deny the fact that people communicate in different ways in different times. So let's try to keep up with that. I think that the sustainability of organizations is inherently connected, especially in a time of crisis, with the family that can support it. And the family is the staff. You need to engage your staff, you need to motivate them. The family is your audience. You need to keep your audience, not lose it. You need to enlarge your audience. It is your artists. It is people who are doing creative work, and how do you engage with them as well. It is your boards. We don't have a lot of tradition of boards of cultural organizations in Portugal, which I think is a shame, and we should very quickly start working towards that, because boards are a very important tool to guarantee sustainability and even social legitimacy for cultural organizations. So I think cultural organizations truly need to look at their family and try to keep their family close, try to keep their family happy, try to keep producing meaning in the best way possible for their family. Because if not, the family will go away and the organization will crumble. I truly, truly believe this, and I think that the concept of family is a very elegant way, and I'm using it inserted in the theory of the cycle that Michael Kaiser from the Kennedy Center of the Performing Arts developed. I think it is an incredibly elegant way of addressing a very complex reality, which is the position of cultural organizations in our society. I think that everyone knows someone who's more important than themselves, where everyone has a friend who's higher up in the social ladder. Talk to them. Ask them to introduce you to his friends. Try to bring them into your own family. Try to interest them in what you do. Try to show them that what you do is important. Try to convey the message that supporting a cultural organization is a noble function of anyone in any society. And then invite them to be part of your board. Create a board. Identify a person who can help you do that if you don't have the immediate connections to do it. In our cultural organizations, we're very much present on the floor, be they the performing arts in the theater or a museum when you're on the gallery space. And you start identifying people that come over and over again to the openings, or that come unannounced. They just show up and see different exhibitions every year. Go talk to them. Who are they? Why are they here? What motivates them? Would they want to be engaged with your institution? Can they help you? Because if they come that often, it's because they like what you're doing. So take advantage of that in a very transparent way. Ask for help. I think that our biggest problem is not recognizing that we can't do everything. We need help, we need volunteers. And volunteers, it can be someone to just assist in the setup of an exhibition, and it can be the president of your board, the person that would make phone calls and fundraising phone calls for you. Once again, create a family around your institution. Try to be relevant to as many people as you can, and try to get people that can help you to actually help you. Is that easy to do? No, it's not. It needs time, persistence, professionalism. There are some techniques, but it's not brain surgery. I think that with the correct attitude, we should all be able to do this for our own cultural institutions. And just the idea of every cultural institution in Portugal having a board, even if it's a 3-person board, I think it would dramatically change our cultural ecology in terms of the legitimacy, the relevancy that it has in the wider society.